Subscribe the Chanel and hit the boy who lost everything, but found the meaning of life. What would you do if one day you woke up and everything you loved was gone? Your family, your dreams, your home, all taken away in a single night. A lonely boy sits under a broken streetlight, rain pouring down, clutching an old diary in his hands. His eyes are red, his clothes torn, but his heart still whispers, maybe life still has a reason for me. A boy named Armand is born into a poor family. His father works as a carpenter, his mother sells fruits. Despite struggles, the family is full of love. Armand dreams of becoming a great writer. He writes stories in his notebook every night, believing his words could change the world. But tragedy strikes. A fire destroys his home. His parents die in the accident. At just 14, Armand is left alone, homeless and hopeless. Hook point for audience. How can a boy with nothing left find a reason to live again? Armand starts begging on the streets, sometimes sleeping hungry. People laugh at him, call him a useless orphan. One rainy night, he saves a little puppy drowning in the floodwater. That puppy becomes his only friend, giving him hope. Slowly, Armand realizes, even in my pain, I can still help others. Armand starts helping old people, carrying their bags, finding lost kids, cleaning streets for a few coins. He writes small notes of kindness in his diary, keeping his dream alive. Years pass. He grows older, stronger, wiser, but still poor. One day, a rich publisher finds Armand's diary by accident. Inside are stories of pain, struggle, and hope that touch the heart deeply. The publisher asks, "Who wrote this?" Armand, shy and broken, says, "Just a boy who lost everything." The diary gets published. People around the world read Armand's words and cry. His story becomes a voice for millions who have suffered silently. Armand finally understands. Sometimes we lose everything, so we can give the world something greater. Moral: life is not about what we lose, but about what we give even when we have nothing left. The king who forgot his own heart. Imagine a king who had everything: power, wealth, armies, fame. But one night he stood alone in his palace, asking himself a question he could not answer. Why am I not happy? Story outline. Expandable for hours. The Rise of the King. A poor orphan boy, Zion, once lived in a small village. He was mocked, rejected, and starved. People told him, "You'll never be anything." But Zion had an unstoppable will. Through hard work, cleverness, and courage, he rose from nothing to become a soldier, then a leader, then the most powerful king of his time. The world bowed before him, but inside, he carried scars of his childhood. Hook point. He became king of the world, but prisoner of his own emptiness. The hollow throne. In his palace of gold, Zayn had everything: servants, riches, an empire. But every night he couldn't sleep. He remembered the days he was hungry, the children he once played with, who now lived in poverty. He asked himself, did I climb so high just to forget where I came from? The hidden journey. Disguised as a common man, Zion left his palace secretly. He walked the streets, the markets, the slums of his kingdom. He saw beggars, orphans, and sick people ignored by his own guards. His heart broke when he found an old friend from his village, now blind and starving. That friend whispered, "Zion, power means nothing if your people suffer." The transformation. For the first time, Zion wept like a child. He realized he had become a ruler, but forgotten to be human. He returned to the palace. not to sit on the throne, but to change it. He built hospitals, schools, shelters for the poor. His wealth was no longer for himself, but for his people. Slowly, his sleepless nights ended. He discovered happiness does not come from being served, but from serving. Years later, when Zayan was dying, he whispered to his son, "Do not fear losing your crown. Fear losing your heart. A throne without kindness is just an empty chair." Moral, power, and wealth mean nothing if they don't touch lives. The old King Zion lies on his deathbed. The palace is filled with silence. His son, the young prince, sits beside him, holding his hand. With a weak voice, Zion says, "My son, when I was your age, I thought the crown was the greatest treasure, but I learned too late. The real crown is the love of your people. Power fades, riches vanish, but the kindness you plant in hearts will live forever." A tear slips from his eye. He takes off his golden crown, places it on his son's lap, and whispers his last words. "Never rule to be remembered as a king. Rule to be remembered as a human." The room falls silent. The king closes his eyes with a faint smile. Outside the palace, thousands of people gather, not to mourn a ruler, but to cry for a father, the slave who became the light of a kingdom. What if the man you see chained today is the one who frees you tomorrow? This is not just the story of a slave. It is the story of courage, forgiveness, and the power of one heart to change an entire kingdom. Character: Yusuf, born into slavery. His mother dies in chains, his father unknown. He grows up beaten, mocked, used as a servant. Yet he whispers every night, "Chains can hold my hands, but never my soul." Substory: as a child, he saves a bird with broken wings. This bird becomes a symbol of his own hope. Cliffhanger: his master sells him to a cruel warlord. Yusuf faces brutality under the warlord. Despite pain, he helps other slaves, feeds the hungry, protects the weak. Dialogue scene: slave: why waste your kindness? No one will remember us, Yusuf. If the world forgets us, God won't. Substory: he secretly teaches children of slaves how to read and write on broken wood pieces. Cliffhanger: he is caught, whipped, nearly to death. Everyone thinks he will die. Yusuf survives, inspires hope among slaves. A mysterious traveler notices his courage and wisdom. The traveler helps him escape and educates him in secret. Years pass. Yusuf grows into a wise young man, but never forgets the chains he wore. Cliffhanger: the kingdom falls into chaos when the cruel warlord dies and people cry for a leader. Yusuf returns not for revenge, but to heal. He speaks in public. "I was once your slave, but now I am your brother." People rally behind him because he carries no hatred. He rebuilds schools, shelters, hospitals for the poor. Substory: he forgives the son of the warlord who once whipped him and raises him as his own. Cliffhanger: enemies from outside kingdoms threaten invasion. Yusuf leads not with weapons, but with unity and wisdom. He negotiates peace, wins hearts, and saves the kingdom from destruction. His final years are lived humbly in a small house, refusing the golden palace. On his deathbed, he whispers, "Chains made me a slave. Kindness made me a king." After his death, the people write on his grave, "Here rests Yusuf, once a slave, forever a light." Morale: your pain can either chain you or free the world. Once there was a kingdom so rich, yet so broken. Its people starved while its rulers feasted. But one day, a beggar with torn clothes and an unshakable heart walked into the kingdom's history. not to take the throne, but to change what it meant forever. Epic ultra-long story framework. 10,000 to 15,000 plus words expandable. Act 1. The Dust of Poverty. Approximately 2 hours. Main character? Amir, a street beggar. Orphaned young, mocked by everyone, survives on scraps. People throw stones at him, call him worthless. But secretly, Amir writes prayers and words of wisdom on broken stones and keeps them hidden. Substory: he saves a lost child of a rich merchant but is never thanked. Cliffhanger: a prophecy spreads. A man with nothing will save this land. Everyone laughs at Amir. The kingdom's rulers are greedy and cruel. People starve, children die, taxes crush the poor. Amir, despite being hungry, shares his food with orphans and dogs. Dialogue: poor man, why do you give when you are starving? Amir: because hunger is lighter when shared. Substory: Amir is jailed for speaking against injustice. In prison, he teaches other prisoners hope. Cliffhanger: instead of breaking, his faith inspires even the guards. A wise old scholar discovers Amir's hidden writings on stones. The word spread in markets. Justice belongs to all, not just the throne. Slowly, Amir becomes the voice of the common people. Crowds gather around him not for food, but for hope. Substory: even the king's own daughter secretly listens to Amir, moved by his truth. Cliffhanger: the king declares Amir an enemy of the crown. Amir is captured, beaten, brought to the royal court. The king mocks, "You own nothing. How dare you challenge me?" Amir replies calmly, "You sit on a throne of gold, yet you are poorer than me. For I have peace, and you have fear." People in the court whisper and cry. The king orders his execution, but soldiers refuse, saying, "We follow a true leader, not a tyrant." Cliffhanger: revolution begins, not with swords, but with voices. Amir refuses to take the crown. Instead, he creates a council of teachers, healers, and farmers. The kingdom changes, schools, shelters, hospitals rise. Amir teaches, do not worship leaders. Worship truth. For truth serves all. Years later, Amir dies in simplicity, buried in the same torn clothes he always wore. On his grave are thousands of stones, not jewels, each engraved by people with words he once spoke. Equals greater than a throne may rule for a century. But a beggar's thanks for watching the video. Subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon and watch the full video. If an orphan abandoned by the world carried a secret light that could change hearts, would people notice him or ignore him? This is the story of a boy who lost everything, yet gave the world more than anyone else. Tonight, ask yourself, what is true wealth? The gold we hold or the faith we carry? Story of Hamid, a young orphan in a poor village. Other children mock him for being fatherless. His mother tells him, "When the world abandons you, Allah holds you closer." He starts memorizing Quran from the village imam. Question for audience: if the world looked down on you, would you still keep walking the path of Allah? A famine strikes. Villagers fight over food. Hamid shares his single piece of bread with a blind beggar. That night he goes hungry but feels peace. Imam tells him, the Prophet ﷺ was an orphan, yet he fed others before himself. Hamid moves to the city to earn a living. He works as a helper in a merchant's shop. One day he finds gold coins fallen from a rich man's bag. His heart struggles, poverty versus honesty. He returns the gold. The rich man mocks him. "Foolish boy. You will die poor," Hamid whispers. "Better to die poor than to meet Allah as a thief." Hook question: What would you do if wealth was in your hand, but your soul was at stake? Hamid makes a friend, Salman. Salman becomes greedy, tries to trick Hamid into stealing. When Hamid refuses, Salman betrays him and spreads lies. Hamid is thrown out of the shop, jobless, hungry, and homeless. He prays all night under the open sky, Ya Allah, you are enough for me. Hamid dreams of the Prophet smiling at him, placing a lamp in his hands. Voice and dream, carry this light. Do not let the world blow it out. He wakes with tears, feeling new strength. An old traveler arrives in the city, weak and thirsty. People ignore him. Hamid gives his last coin for water and food. The man reveals himself as a wise scholar. He says, Young man, your heart carries a light. Come with me, I will teach you. Hamid studies Quran, Hadith, and wisdom under the scholar. He becomes known for his honesty and kindness. People begin seeking him for advice. Yet, he remains humble. I am just an orphan carrying a lamp my prophet gave me. After many years, Hamid returns to his village. The people who once mocked him now respect him. He rebuilds the masjid, teaches children Quran, feeds the poor. Even Salman, his betraying friend, returns in shame. Hamid forgives him, saying, Forgive, as you want Allah to forgive you. Hamid grows old. One night he lights a lamp in the masjid and prays, Ya Allah, you gave me nothing of this world, but you filled my heart with light. Take me now, while I still hold it. At dawn, villagers find him in sujood, smiling, the lamp still glowing. The boy the world ignored became the man who carried light. Wealth ends, power fades, but faith and kindness outlive the grave. If today you hold a lamp of faith, will you let it shine, or let the world blow it out? 7 minutes. If your entire life was reduced to 2 doors, one leading to eternal success and the other to eternal loss, how would you choose? Tonight's story is about a wealthy merchant who thought he had everything, until he stood before 2 doors he could not escape. Karim, a poor boy, becomes a successful merchant in Damascus. Known for sharp business skills, but his heart hardens. He stops praying, neglects Quran, thinks wealth equals power. His mother warns, wealth without faith is like water in the desert. It disappears. Hook question. If your success started taking you away from Allah, would you stop or keep going? One evening, a blind beggar asks for food. Karim humiliates him. Work for your bread instead of begging. The beggar prays, Ya Allah, open his eyes before it's too late. That night, Karim dreams of a huge palace with 2 locked doors. Karim enters the first door in his dream. He sees mountains of gold, servants bowing, music, luxury. But slowly the gold turns to dust. Voices whisper, This is the door of greed. Everything you built will vanish. He wakes up terrified but ignores it. A week later, he dreams again. This time he stands before the second door. When it opens, he sees a grave. Darkness, serpents, fire. Angels ask, Where are your prayers? Where is your Quran? Where is your Sadaqah? Karim screams, wakes drenched in sweat. Question. If Allah showed us the grave before death, how many of us would change today? Karim rushes to the masjid, weeping, praying after years. He gives away half his wealth to the poor, finds the blind beggar, kneels, and what is the value of one promise? Can a single promise last beyond money, betrayal, and even death? Tonight, you will hear a story that will test your heart. Before we begin, ask yourself, if you had to choose between saving yourself or saving someone you love, what would you choose? Act 1. Innocence and Brotherhood. 2 boys, Rahman, kind, patient, and Karim, ambitious, restless, grow up in poverty but share everything. Their father teaches them true wealth is in honesty and loyalty. Promise me you will never betray each other. They promise hand on heart. Kareem wants to leave for fortune. Rahman stays to care for their sick father. Question: if your brother wanted to leave you for his dream, would you let him go or hold him back? On his deathbed, father whispers to Rahman, one day your brother will forget his promise, but you must not forget yours. Act 2. Rise and fall of Kareem. Kareem struggles, sleeps on the streets, but learns cunning tricks. Slowly he rises, lies, bribes, betrayals. Wealth flows in. Meanwhile, Rahman works the fields, helps widows, teaches children. Poor but respected. Question: who would you rather be, Kareem the rich or Rahman the respected? Kareem's closest partner betrays him. He loses millions but covers his pain with arrogance. Act 3. Reunion of Brothers. Chapter 7. Return to the village, 35 minutes. After 20 years, Kareem returns in golden carriages. Villagers whisper, "Look, the rich man has come." Rahman greets him humbly. Kareem mocks him. "You wasted your life." "Look at me." Question: if your brother insulted you after 20 years, would you forgive or hate him? Rahman shows Kareem their father's wooden box. Inside, a diary of wisdom. A note: greed will blind you. Love will save you. Kareem ignores it. Act 4. Judgment of Fate. Police raids, lawsuits, partners betray again. Kareem loses everything. His servants vanish. He returns to Rahman in shame. Question: when life takes away all your money, what remains? Rahman embraces him. "Brother, I never needed your wealth. I needed your presence." Act 5. Redemption and legacy. Kareem sells his last assets. Builds schools for orphans, a hospital for the sick, wells for the thirsty. He finally sleeps peacefully. Question: can a man with a sinful past truly change? Rahman falls ill on his deathbed. "You finally found peace. Keep the promise alive. Even after me, Rahman dies with a smile." Kareem cries like a child. Act 6. The Eternal Promise. Now an old man, Kareem sits under a tree. Children gather as he tells the story of his mistakes and redemption. Final words: remember, one promise is stronger than all the gold in the world. Keep your word, and you will never be poor. Final hook. Question: would you choose a short life of wealth or a long life of respect? Moral of the story: money fades, power fades, but a promise kept, love given, and kindness shared, these live forever. Narration voice. Have you ever wondered what true sight is? Is it the eyes that see gold or the heart that sees truth? Let me tell you a story. There was once a mighty king named Zahir. He was wealthy, powerful, and feared across lands. But he was arrogant. He thought money bought loyalty and strength bought love. Question: if you had absolute power, would you rule with fear or with kindness? One day outside the palace, Zahir saw a blind beggar. The beggar whispered, "King, you are blind too, and not of the eyes, but of the heart." Enraged, Zahir ordered the beggar to be jailed. That night the king dreamt that all his gold turned to dust. The blind beggar appeared in the dream. "Your kingdom will fall unless you learn what true sight means." Zahir woke in fear. Question: do you believe dreams can be warnings from fate? Slowly, drought and famine struck. His soldiers stole. His ministers betrayed him. The once mighty king had nothing left. He wandered alone, hungry and broken. On the streets, the king met the blind beggar again, but this time the beggar offered him bread. The king cried, "Why do you help me after I jailed you?" The beggar replied, Because true sight is not with the eyes, it is with the heart. The king lived with the beggar, learning patience, humility, and service. Slowly he helped villagers, fetched water, and healed his pride. Years later, people chose him again as their leader, not for his power, but for his kindness. Question: can a man who ruled with pride truly change into a servant of the people? The blind beggar blessed him. You were blind, but now you see. Remember, gold fades, crowns fall, but a pure heart Kareem, now an old man, sits beneath the village tree. Children gather around him, waiting for the tale of his life. His eyes are weak, his body frail, but his voice is strong. He tells them about the promise he broke with his brother Rahman.